Welcome to ACI Food and Beverage. This video will address the safety, health, environmental, wellness and food safety issues that are of importance. As you are a visitor to ACI Food and Beverage, please pay close attention to all of the aspects that will be shown. Our intention is to ensure that you are fully equipped with all of the safety, health, environmental and food safety requirements in order for you to conduct your business with us safely and without any incident or injuries. You will be asked to complete a test at the end of the video and a pass mark of 80% will be required. Who is ACI Food and Beverage? ACI Food and Beverage incorporating Lake Food Solutions, Infigro, Affordable, and SCP is the exclusive representative for the leading international manufacturer, contract packing and supplier of juice concentrates, marinades, salad dressings, food grade defoamers, specialty ingredients and commodities, offering products and services into the dairy, beverage, wine, edible oil, glucose, meat, bakery, health and nutrition, and functional additives to the meat and poultry industries. The Occupational Health and Safety Act. The Occupational Health and Safety Act is a compulsory legislation that provides a framework for employers and employees or contractors such as yourself to work together in the interest of safety. And so this law imposes specific legal duties on all parties. In other words, the company and all its employees and contractors or visitors are legally instructed to ensure that certain safety and health requirements are implemented and complied with. So, as contractors or visitors, you are considered to be employees whilst doing work for ACI Food and Beverage. It is required that you review the Occupational Health and Safety Act and ensure that all employees working for ACI Food and Beverage are made conversant with the Act and all the requirements. All contractors working for ACI Food and Beverage sites will also be required to sign an agreement known as a Section 37.2 in this regard. In addition, you will need to supply your letter of good standing and compile a contractor safety file for the SHE Food and Beverage team. Once you have successfully passed the SHE assessment and induction course, you will be issued with an induction card which will be valid for 1 year. The life-saving behaviors. ACI Food and Beverage have adopted the 10 life-saving behaviors. These life-saving behaviors are non-negotiable and must be complied with at all times. Access control. All contractors must report to security, who will contact reception and confirm the appointment and inform the host you have arrived. Security will direct you to the reception to meet your host. The visitor's permit and food safety declaration must be completed before entering the facility. Please note that if you are entering the operational areas, all jewelry must be removed. Security reserves the right to search your vehicle when entering or leaving the ACI Food and Beverage facility. You are also required to undergo a breathalyzer test when entering the facility. No alcohol, drugs, dagga, firearms, knives, or explosive are allowed on site. Vehicles must be roadworthy and drivers must hold a valid driver's license. Passengers on the back of bakkies must be seated at all times. Please note that all ACI Food and Beverage sites have a 10 km/h speed limit and this needs to be complied with at all times. As a visitor, you must be accompanied by your host at all times. On your return to the main gate, you must hand in your access permit signed by your host. Please note that you will not be allowed out if your access permit was not signed. Personal protective equipment. All personal protective equipment, known as PPE, must comply with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. The minimum PPE requirements on our sites is a hard hat, hairnet, safety glasses, an overall or dust coat, and a non-slip anti-static steel-capped safety shoe. Additional specialized PPE is required in other areas, so please adhere to the PPE safety signage. When drilling, cutting, and grinding, eye protection, a full face shield, apron, and leather gloves must be used. Please note that safety shoes or boots will not be provided by ACI Food and Beverage during your visit to our site. You will be required to supply your own. Specific laboratory PPE, disposable nitrile gloves, safety glasses. PPE is one of ACI Food and Beverage life-saving behaviors and so must be complied with at all times. Remember, PPE is your last resort, but it is a very effective barrier, so always wear the right and full PPE. Incident reporting. All injuries, environmental incidents such as overflows, spillage or other pollution, incidents, accidents, near misses, damage to equipment or buildings must be reported before the end of your shift or workday to your immediate ACI Food and Beverage She department. Emergency response plan. In the event of an emergency, a siren will sound. Please stop everything you are doing, make your area safe, switch off machinery, and proceed to the nearest emergency exit. Keep calm, follow the emergency escape signs to the emergency assembly point. Your host will direct and accompany you. Your name will be marked off the roll call register. Please do not leave the assembly point until instructed to do so by the emergency coordinator. The first aider will be available at the emergency assembly point to treat any first aid injuries. Every Friday at 12 midday, the emergency alarm will be tested. This will be a short siren sound for no longer than 1 minute. Truck loading and offloading. When loading or offloading, chocks must be used. All employees, including contractors conducting work at heights, and especially doing the loading or offloading of transportation vehicles, must ensure that they are secured at heights. Unroadworthy vehicles will not be allowed to enter the site and will be turned away at security. As ACI Food and Beverage will not permit the mixing of food and non-food materials on a single load truck, all vehicles transporting food goods must have closed sides and be maintained in a clean state. Permits. No work can commence before a safe work permit is issued by the maintenance team, She department, or site manager. All safe work permits must be accompanied by a safety briefing. If conditions change, you must stop work and notify the permit issuer, and only proceed when it is safe to do so. If an emergency occurs, the current safe work permit will be cancelled and a new permit will be issued. When the work has been completed, both the permit recipient and the permit issuer must inspect the work, and each must sign off the safe work permit. Confined space entry. A confined space is any enclosed area where an accumulation of hazardous gas or substance could accumulate, which may result in an oxygen deficiency. Ensure that the area is tested by a competent person using an oxygen monitor before anyone enters the confined space. The person working in a confined space must wear an airline mask and a safety harness with a rope attached, which reaches outside the confined space to a tripod or solid support. At all times, there must be a standby person outside the vessel and breathing apparatus. Risk assessments. Before starting any work, undertake a risk assessment. Carefully plan where and how the work will be done, identify any risks, and put in place any safety measures that may be required. If it is not safe to do it, don't do it. Moving machinery. Moving machinery must be declared safe for use and may only be operated by a competent, licensed person. Never transport people in a man cage. Look out for moving forklifts and keep clear of all moving equipment. No one may ride on a forklift. Do not use a cell phone when operating moving equipment such as a forklift, and never leave a running vehicle unattended. Stacking and storage. Material must be stacked only in specific areas. Stacking is not permitted in front of emergency or firefighting equipment, emergency exits, or any other safety equipment. When stacking drums or bags above the second stack, they must be strapped or plastic wrapped. When using a man cage, a safety harness must be worn. Ergonomics. When lifting heavy items, use your legs and not your back, and keep your fingers clear of pinch points. Do not work in awkward positions for any length of time without taking a break to stretch. Smoking areas. Dedicated smoking areas are provided on all sites. Smoking is not permitted in any operational area, including open yard areas. Once you have finished smoking, you will be required to wash and sanitize your hands before re-entering the facility. Demarcations. While you are operating on a food and beverage facility, you need to ensure that you stick to the pedestrian walkways. Only store materials in dedicated demarcated areas and do not obstruct any safety or emergency equipment. Cold rooms. AECI Food and Beverage have a number of cold storage facilities on site. No contractor or visitor may enter these cold storage facilities unless under the supervision of an AECI Food and Beverage permanent employee. Thermal PPE is required to enter these specific areas. Bees. At our operational facilities, it is not uncommon to find bees around holding tanks and vessel flanges. Please be cautious when working in these areas. If you have an allergy to bees, please notify your SHE officer or supervisor before entering the facility. Our top 4 hazards or risks on our sites include flammable storage, fire, and uncontrolled reactions. Cold rooms, hypothermia, frost nip, and burns. Tripping hazards, wet floors and flexible hoses. Moving machinery, forklift activities, and loading and offloading of trucks. We aspire to operate sustainably without harm to people, the environment, and the communities in which we operate. We welcome you to AECI Food and Beverage and hope that you have a pleasant and safe visit to our facilities.